Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope you're having a great day. I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. I like to say that the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always try to do better. Today, we're going to be talking about a Black father unaliving 8 of his family members. I couldn't really say who they are, for YouTube purposes. So I just call them as family members, but I'll get into it, during the explanation of everything. But unalived 8 of his family members in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I want to be honest with you. I want to talk about some other things, but then when I saw this, I had a few people reach out to me about it. And with some of the other things that have been going on, I just kind of felt that it's probably something we should have a conversation about. Because I think we're kind of seeing a little bit more of it. Not that it's not happened before, but just kind of it's just a lot going on. So again, I want to talk about other things, but I just felt like this deserves a conversation. Also want to say too, this is not a male bashing session or anything like that. We're just going to talk about things as we know it, and then maybe form some opinions and things like that. But before I give it to Donovan and say hello to everybody, I just want to remind you that I'll be in Columbus, Ohio, May 23rd for the Ohio Black Expo, along with Brother Phil, Sister Vicky, Sister Emma. We are going to be having a live discussion with you all where you'll be able to ask us questions right there on the spot. Sounds like we're going to be on 2 stages. The main stage, which is huge, right? Which is where you'll see your October Londons, your Moni Loves, and just a whole host of other people there. They're gonna have food, music. It's just a great time, I promise you. And I'm gonna actually be there. It's Friday through Monday. I didn't get a chance to stay all the days before, but I'm making a plan to stay the whole time this time. So maybe I'll see some of y'all walking around on some of those days. So in order to do that, please go to ohioblackexpo.com, ohioblackexpo.com to get your tickets where they have all kind of sales and things like that. All the way up until the event. So yes, Sister Shirley is very sad. So I'll jump into the comment section in just a second. Donovan.
Hey, well, again, welcome everybody back to the program. It's good to have you guys back. Thank you to our moderators and the people that have been riding with us for a very, very long time. This is a very, very, very sad subject. So, everybody's opinion is valid. Again, it's not a man bashing session or a woman bashing session, a relationship bashing session, because we don't know all the facts and issues that go with it. But in the meantime, you guys see a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to help contribute and keep these great conversations going, there's ways you can do it. You can Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. Also, do not forget the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. And right now, Brother Phil Scott is doing a special because he knows times are getting rough for a lot of people. A lot of people do enjoy the content. And so he is keeping the price in a zone until further notice, that people could, rapidly afford, because we know these apps and things, they keep going up. The next month, you're getting charged an additional $3 and stuff like that. So Brother Phil's got a special going on with the African Diaspora News Channel app. Also, remember, we are on another platform. So, YouTube allows us to use the platform. And when you're on this YouTube, in these YouTube streets, we are subjected to their rules and their modifications and all that. But African Diaspora News Channel is completely Black owned, where we can talk, act, and be who we are without subjugating us to the rules other than what Brother Phil Scott and the people put on that platform. But it's a platform for us, by us. So don't forget about that. You can get it on Google Play and the Apple Store. This is a very, very, it's getting worse out there, you guys. Things are going on. We know there's a lot of craziness happening, but again, we'll see how it goes. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. So for the sake of time, let's go ahead and get into it. And as soon as I jump in the comment section, I will say hello to everybody as I see everybody starting to come on in. So nevertheless, I'm going to read from my notes. I'm going to put, well, y'all saw the thumbnail, and I actually blurred out the faces of the children. I know that the faces are not blurred out all over the internet, but, I I decided to blur them out. I don't know, I don't know if I want my children's faces all over the internet, especially with what I'm about to tell you that transpired. So basically, Today, in Cedar Grove neighborhood, Shreveport, Louisiana, to be exact, the suspect Shamar Elkins, 31 years old, took the lives of eight of his children, ages 1 through 14, injured at least two adult women and one child. Basically, Elkins was pew-pewed, if you will, and killed by the police after fleeing the scene. Police described the incident as one of the worst tragedies in Shreveport history and domestic violence related family annihilation. Okay. Now it says police received domestic disturbance calls early Sunday morning. The shooting spread across multiple homes, at least 3 residences. The killings occurred in 4 nearby crime scenes overall. 7 children were found in one home, and 8th child was found outside, believed to have tried to escape. 2 women were pew-pewed, if you will, in the head, but survived. Another child was injured, jumping from a roof, trying to escape. Police described one of the scenes as incredibly gruesome and unlike anything officers had seen. Now, it says authorities confirmed ages ranged from about 18 months to 14 years old. All 8 fatalities were children. At least some of the victims were Elkins' own children or descendants. Now it says after the killing, the children Elkins fled the scene. He carjacked a vehicle. Police pursued him into Bossier City, Louisiana. Police shot and killed Elkins at the scene of the chase. Louisiana police, state police rather, are now investigating the officer involved shooting. Now, Shreveport police said this was not random violence. It was domestic related. The suspect knew the victims. The crime scene was extensive and spread across multiple scenes. The chief said this is an extensive scene, unlike anything most of us have ever seen. Says confirmed details so far that Shamar is 31 years old, a Shreveport resident, Army veteran, reported by multiple outlets, had family ties to the victim, posted family photos, religious messages days before attack, reportedly hinted at emotional or mental struggles on social media before the killings. There's one report says he posted a photo, and I'm going to show you guys this in a second. Photos with his daughter hours before the killing. Earlier posts included prayers and emotional stability. Now, let's see. So just let's see. The government response says officials responding included Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson. Says there's actions planned. Our community vigils, counseling for families, counseling for students and first responders, ongoing investigation by Louisiana State Police. Now it says this is significant because this is the deadliest U.S. mass killing since 2024. 8 victims were all children, domestic violence, family annihilation, multiple crime scenes, a police chase, and suspect killed. Now, what is still unknown is that authorities are still investigating exact motive, relationship of all children to Elkins, whether custody or domestic disputes were involved, whether mental health played a role, prior police calls, or history. So basically, this is still developing. More details are expected within the next 28 to 48 hours. So that's just what we know so far. I know a lot of people are doing a lot of speculating on the internet. I really don't want to do that because, as it says, it'll be about 24 to 48 hours. I guess they'll know more. They did take the victims to the hospital, but this is some of the posts that they were talking about here. So this is on from his page, April 9th. He posts something from a spiritual inspiration. It basically says, it's Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Dear God, today I ask you to help me guard my mind and my emotions. When negativity arises, remind me to say it does not belong to me in the name of Jesus. Help me to remember that there is power in your name and that every force not from you must flee. When depression tries to settle in, when anger arises, when anxiety or panic comes, give me the awareness to recognize what is from you and the strength to reject it immediately in the name of Jesus. Fill me with your peace, your joy, your clarity, and teach me to replace negative thoughts with your truth. Strengthen my mind so I can stand firm and not be overtaken by what I feel. Oh, I see. I had put that up there twice. Okay, never mind. It says, I choose to walk in freedom, knowing I am covered, protected, and held by you in Jesus' name. And then here on the other side, it says, Dads, if you could go back in time and have kids with a different woman, would but still have the same kids, would you do it? And at the top he says, hell yeah, I would. And again, I have posted that twice. I actually meant to post something else, but it doesn't matter. It's kind of like in the same vein of the spiritual readings. And this is also what he posted on his page. So Easter, which was what, April 5th. And he says, Happy Easter. Had a wonderful time at church for the first time with all my kids. What a blessed day. Again, I marked the children's faces out as much as I could. And then 2 days ago, rather, he says, laugh out loud, took my oldest on a little one-on-one date, had to catch her down bad. So, he took her to get something to eat. So that's what was posted on his very own page. Now, it should be said that his ex-wife, I guess, or maybe they're estranged, I don't know. She was taken to the hospital. She was also, severely injured in the attack. But a lot of people are pointing out that she posted this, and she did. I went to her page. Shaniqua Elkins is her name. She posted this as effed up. And basically, this is the case of Ashanti Allen here in Houston. As a matter of fact, 23-year-old mother. Well, she was about to expect a baby, 8 months pregnant. She came up missing. They found her vehicle, but they did not find her. Now, it sounds like she was also in a wheelchair due to kind of like some pregnancy things. They could not find her. Then they found her body just the other day, as a matter of fact. And her, I guess the father of the unborn child is the suspect. He was already arrested for something else, and then they let him go. So I don't know if they caught up with him, but as of yesterday, they didn't. He is on the run, and he is suspected rather of taking her life. And so a lot of people just kind of pointed out how ironic it is that she posted that. I guess maybe never in a million years imagining that that would be her. And forgive me, I'm looking for another picture that I forgot to put up. Give me 1 second, you guys. Let's see, is this it? Nope, that's not it. Give me 1 sec. Here we go. Oops. Okay. So this photo here, and I'm drawing I guess a correlation. Okay, so that is former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, and his wife, Serena. Now, basically, it says on April 16, 2026, Fairfax shot and killed his wife, Serena Fairfax. He then shot and killed himself in their Annandale, Virginia home. Their two teenage children were inside the home at the time. One of the children called 911 after hearing the gunshots. Police said the victims were related to contentious divorce and domestic dispute. So they were in the process of a divorce. It says a judge had recently ordered Fairfax to move out of the home. He had lost primary custody of his children. Reports indicated mental health struggles, isolation, and heavy stress before the shooting. His wife had filed for divorce in 2025, so last year. Says Fairfax reportedly shot her multiple times before killing himself. Now, he served as Virginia Lieutenant Governor 2018 to 2022, once considering a rising star in the Democrat Party. His career collapsed after 2019 sexual assault allegations, which he denied vehemently. Lost the 2021 governor primary with only about 3 to 4% support. So, I have reportedly struggled financially and professionally. Now, this is where Roland Martin comes in. Roland Martin right now is now being dragged all over the internet because, and I'll read to you why. It says, the main criticism is that he is focused too much on Justin. Discuss Fairfax's career, downfall, depression, and allegations. Did not center the victim, Serena Fairfax, enough. Some said he appeared sympathetic toward the killer rather than the victim. It says people online and commentators argued a woman was murdered. She should be the focus. The discussion shifted toward Fairfax's struggle. Some also criticized Martin for mentioning fraternity ties and personal connections. Survivor of domestic violence said the commentary minimized domestic violence. Now, so again, I'm bringing him in, him being Roland, because I guess he knew him and he posted pictures of all of them. And so from that point, a lot of people just lost their stuff, right? Because they're like, how dare you? make this about Justin and not about her, because he basically, made a post and stuff talking about he knew her more, or him more rather than he knew her. So a lot of sisters in the sisterhood are, extremely upset. And there's a lot of men that are upset at Roland as well, as he went on to have a panel on men's mental health and things like that. And people are like, you still don't get it, right? So, of course, there's an argument about femicide. Now, that is a term that has been used, but a lot of people, I don't think, really understands what femicide is. And so basically, femicide is the intentional gender based murder of women or girls, primarily perpetrated by men due to misogyny, inequality, or power imbalances, often involving intimate partners. It is the most extreme form of violence against women, extending beyond homicide to include premeditated killings like honor killings or torture. Now, it says it's coined by a woman by the name of Diana H. Russell. Let's see. It says, unlike general homicide, femicide is driven by systemic discrimination, gender stereotypes, and unequal power relationships. It says perpetrators are typically intimate partners, family members, or acquaintances, though it can also be motivated by hate, sexual trafficking, or organized crime. It is also a global crisis. Now, I look to see if there's a term for men who are unalived, right? And it says the primary term for male equivalent of femicide is androcide, defined as a systemic killing of men or boys, often due to their gender or as part of a wartime violence. While femicide implies gender-based hatred, misogyny, androcide often covers war crimes, the targeted killing of males as combatants, or mass violence. Now, I did a little bit more digging and trying to bring it home to Black people. And so I asked some questions. It says, who kills Black women? It says the majority of Black women murdered, approximately 90%, where the offender where the offender is known, are killed by Black men. Often through intimate partner violence. Says who kills Black men? The vast majority of Black men are killed by other Black men. Intraracial homicide studies show that about 91% of female homicide victims in a single offender incidents are killed by Black males. Says while Black women are disproportionately victims of homicide, particularly at the hands of male intimate partners, Black men face the highest overall volume of homicide victimization, with other men being the primary perpetrator. So I just brought in all of those things that are kind of swirling around the internet in regards to not that the lady in this situation was unalived, but there's a lot of violence, and I don't know if it's any more, if it's just the internet is being highlighted more, but these are some of the conversations that are being had. Me personally, I don't want to minimize what it is. I know there'll be a lot of think tanks as to, what needs to be done. But from what I see, innocent people had their lives taken. And regardless of whatever the situation is, I always talk about the lack of coping skills. And it's not just for men, it's for women as well. There's a lot of people who are not taught coping skills, don't want to have coping skills, or any of that other stuff. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to give it to Donovan, and then we'll have a little bit more of a discussion. I just kind of want to give you the details as I know it. And then I'll say hello to y'all as I jump into the comment section. Donovan?
Hey, I'm not going to take up too much time because a lot of people in the comments have a lot to say. So I want to hear what they have to say. But let's go back to PTSD. There's different forms of PTSD. Most people know it as post-traumatic stress disorder, but most Black people know it as post-traumatic slave disorder. Now, with the benign neglect that both parties do toward Black people, but I'm specifically going to talk about the Democrat Party, who asks us for our votes, promises hope and change and all of these things, and yet we get gentrified out of our neighborhoods, we get gentrified out of our jobs. Over 400,000 women lost their jobs. These are government jobs, right? High paying, decent type jobs, whatever. 400,000 women losing their jobs. Just think about how many homes are going to be lost. Now we're getting gentrified out of politics. Bad enough, we do not even talk about the femicide that goes on in the medical industry in the United States. With all of this stress, this post-traumatic slave disorder that Black people are under, the pressure of the most unhoused, the most homeless in the United States are Black people. Now, I want you to think about this. When you do not have a place to live, how much stress are you under? It's hard to get a job because you don't have an address. You know, we all know the parameters of all this. You've got some single mothers out there or some mothers out there that are in the adult entertainment world trying to make the bills be paid. What about that stress? Raising the kids. A lot of our children aren't even reading at a 6th grade level. They say it's now 4th grade level. We're starting to regress. Post-traumatic slave disorder. And I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody because I agree with everything that Demetra said. But it's like a pressure cooker. It gets to a point to where you lose it. How many of you guys remember the movie Falling Down starring the great Michael Douglas? And it could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody. The pressure of providing, the pressure of producing. It can happen to anybody. I don't know the situation with this person, but as a Black person, our educated Black people, it is a fact. They say it is a fact. And I'm a little educated. I've been to a few classes. I have a few things going for myself. Do you guys know, and you probably do know this, Black students at colleges spend half of their time worried about financing for the next semester. Rather than being regular students, not worrying about a thing, a majority of Black college students worry about if they're going to be there for the next semester because the finances are not there. Black post-traumatic slave disorder. And yet no help comes from the Democratic Party or any of these parties or any government entity, but you've got Black people out there fighting for illegal immigrants that shouldn't be here. With all the fraud that has been uncovered, just imagine programs for American citizens, be it you Black, white, whatever, American citizens that could help you pay your rent, that could get you housing. I think it was $20 billion here in California alone for the homeless. Never went to the homeless and not one home was built. So Black people, we're under enormous stress. It's bad enough the Democratic Party is stressing you to vote for more of nothing. Where is the hope? Where is the change? I'm not surprised all of these things are starting to happen. I'm not surprised at all, but let's hear what you guys got to say.
Absolutely. Hello to everybody. Let me just get some of these comments down, then I'll get back a little bit more commentary. Beverly White, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Buckhorse, what's going on with you? Sister Shirley says, why is Roland Martin not minding his business? Well, that was his friend, right? So I guess he wanted to talk about his friend and all that, and I think it was extremely tone deaf. And he is getting the work that he deserves to be dragged or whatever. A lot of people are realizing who Roland Martin really is. He only cares about himself and a fraternity and all this other stuff. But it's like, my God, this lady just lost her life, right? It wasn't lost. She knew where it was. It was taken from her. And all you could do is talk about your homies so they doing what they need to do with Mr. Roland. Michelle, how you doing? Says, yes, Roland is indeed not wise. Lady D, what's going on with you? Baraka was up. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I agree. D-Max says Roland gets what he gets. What about respecting the family? The kids lost both parents, and he's doing a lot of backpedaling and trying to explain. One thing about him, he gonna be right regardless of what anybody has to say, right? Brother Todd, how you doing? Says the fall of America don't just mean white folks. Black folks are dying at an alarming rate by other Black people. The die has been cast, and it's just a matter of time before it all collapses. That is 100% right. And I also listened to the webcast today. He talked about the fall of America a lot, but you're absolutely right. That's for all of us. We've all been asked and warned, to get our stuff together. So just a part of it, right? Freddie, how you doing? Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that compliment. Dorothy, what's going on with you? Let's see. Erica, how you doing? Eric, rather. Erica, because y'all names are smashed together. They said no excuse for this. Sorry. Monet, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Just trying to make sure. Yolanda, how you doing? Says, I've been a victim of the four aforementioned, and yes, it's overwhelming and very stressful. Corey, what's going on with you? Says he should have left the children alone. I totally 100% agree with you. Diane, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Old school, how you doing? Says every time Shreveport, Louisiana is on the news, is because someone has gotten unalive. The city has been that way for years. That's very sad and unfortunate. Brother Jesse, how you doing? Hope that you are well today. Jedi Skywalker, what is going on with you? Okay. Yeah, you be having a lot going on in your comment section. Okay, so I got to the bottom, so I just kind of wanted to address some things. Michelle, what's going on with you? I get PTSD. I think more, like you said, post-traumatic slave disorder, which basically means we are still suffering from the ills and the things that are done to us on the plantation. Even though we weren't on the plantation, our ancestors were, and those things and the traumas and things were passed down, whether it was through the womb or teachings, a whole host of other things. Then PTSD that normally comes from a stressful situation like being in the military, as he was a vet. Again, we don't know what was going on with that brother, but I tell you this, and I don't try to say my situation or anybody else's situation that I know is like his, because we don't know what he had going on. I've been stressed and I've been under a lot of stress, but I never once thought about taking the life of myself, let alone anybody else. But I think if I were in that situation, I would probably, and I wouldn't, right? I'm not advocating this at all. But I think it's a question that deserves to have the conversation. A lot of people are like, why can't he just do it to himself, right? That would be the logical thing. Okay, if you're going through some things or whatever, why do you need to take other people with you? Now, I've also seen people say, basically, this kind of thing is unheard of with us. No, it's not. It's not unheard of. It's actually quite common. I'm actually very familiar with a situation that happened within my own family. I won't get into the details here, but that's not uncommon. We just don't hear about it as much because we kind of hear about it more so from maybe, let's say, white people, things like that. But it's common in everybody's community, right? Where this kind of stuff goes on. And yes, I agree that there's a lot of things in society that's going on. Somebody says blame Trump and MAGA because they set the tone. I don't even know how to even answer that. I mean, I don't know how anybody would set the tone for a father to do what he did to his children or anybody else for that matter, right? As I said, I believe that there's some coping skills that people just need to have and understand that things get rough. But things aren't rough just for you. It may be rough for you in a certain situation, but things are rough for everybody to certain degrees. But, we have to find different ways of handling things. But I will say that he was running. So he didn't unalive himself. He was running and then he was unalive by the police. So it's like, and you did this at 3 residents and actually 4 places that it happened where he was unalive. So you mean to tell me that you were going to do that to these people and try to take off or whatever? So I'm going to stand on that. I get stressed and everything like that, but I still don't think that's an excuse to take the lives of other people. It's just not an excuse. Because I hear a lot of people trying to like bring in, and I understand mental illness. Yes, there are people who are mentally ill, but even mentally ill people are told, hey, go get help, right? Wherever it is. So I don't want to, I'm personally not going to normalize this as well. They got this and that going on. Because everybody has something going on. It's just how you handle it. Sister Sunlight.
Let me just add to this too. For those of you guys know, when I left the military, the military diagnosed me at 100% just in my PTSD by itself. I didn't feel that I had PTSD, but there were incidences where I would go from 0 to 100. No problem. And Demetra could even proofread this or whatever. Till this very day, for 12 years, I've been going to therapy through the VA, whatever. And one of the biggest problems that we have is a lot of veterans, and I'm just speaking for the veterans, do not go to those therapy sessions. I have a therapy session every Thursday, and it's great. I get things out. It kind of keeps me calm. And, I know not everybody's in the military or whatever, but a lot of people know people that are in the military. Do you guys know, especially for all you ladies and people that get psychology degrees, the VA is begging for therapists to come in and talk to these veterans. Though that is one of the most open positions you can have with the VA is as a therapist. Because we have guys, think about these guys that are going or doing stuff over there right now. They're going to be coming back jacked up just as well. So again, there's a stigma in our community where we feel that a shrink or a head doctor is something that you do not do. You know, you tough it out, you do what you got to do, you know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, we got to get out of that stigma. You know, I talk to a friend, I talk to Demetra, whoever I need to talk to, but sometimes talking to a professional does make a difference. So we got to think about that. In our community, talking to head doctors is something that is frowned down upon.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Arlene says no, there is absolutely no excuse for this tragedy. You know, um, and you're right. You got to talk to somebody. You know, and that's I guess in a sense maybe a stigma in our community. And that's kind of something that's been taught to us, right? Oh, you be all right. We're often told just go pray about it. You should pray, right? You should do that, but you know, go sit down and unpack some of that stuff with somebody who is equipped to do that. You know, we think, oh, that means you crazy if you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. No, it just means that you're trying to find better ways of coping with whatever is going on with you, right? Because we don't have all the answers. And a lot of times we do think, oh, I'll go to the homie, I'll go to the pastor. No, sometimes you need to go to somebody who's not directly connected to you emotionally or anything like that. Just sit down with somebody and just say what it is, and they can give you some tools. You know, I'll be honest with you. I went to a therapist for as an adult for the first time about 5 years ago, maybe at this point. And it was something that I had to do, you know, because I couldn't understand or make sense of what was going on with me, right? Not that I wanted to do anything to myself. I ain't never been down bad like that, okay? And not saying anything about anybody who has, but I just needed to go, and I didn't go that long. You know, the time that I did go, I was like, oh, okay. But she gave me some tools that I could use to understand, you know, where I was at and what was going on. Now, before that, I'm like, shoot, I'm a gangster. I'm a G. I don't need to speak to nobody because I know everything, right? Obviously, I didn't, but I'm glad that I did because she reminded me of some things I kind of already knew. But to hear it from somebody else that was not attached to the situation, even though when I told her what happened, she kind of broke the third wall and was like, what? But that made me feel good though. Like, okay, she's not gonna just sit here stonewall looking at me. She was like, what? So yeah, you have to reach out. And we have to stop telling people in our community all you gotta do is go to church and pray. There's just a therapist in the church as well, you know. Let's see who else I'm gonna see. And Scoopy says, always checking mental health. I had to do it. It has see, yeah, there you go, right? There's no shame in the game. Oh, I don't want nobody to know. You know, no, tell people because then that in a sense will let everybody else know, oh, it's okay. Oh, you went, how was it? Oh, it wasn't bad. You know, I was able to sit and unpack what was going on because your girl was going through a lot, right? I was going bald headed and all kind of just stressed. I just like I couldn't make sense of what was going on, and to sit down with somebody, it was just like a weight just fell off my shoulders, and I was understanding, you know, the totality of what happened to me, you know, because it happened to me. Let's see how's Mad Dog. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. So this is a huge tragedy. He didn't have to delete the kids. Yeah. And I don't know if he's left something behind, a manifesto or whatever. We probably will never know what caused them to do it. Just from one of the posts, he basically said that if he could choose a different mother but keep the kids, he would. So I don't know if there was something going on there. It sounds like they were just married in 2024, although they had been together for like a decade or so before that. So I don't know if it had anything to do with her. I don't know. It's just it's unimaginable. I will say that. Sister Shirley said, Donovan, you're so right. My husband came home from Vietnam. A fruitcake. Those are your words. After serving 2 terms in Vietnam. Kevin, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see.
And speaking of that, again, that's a prime example of a recent example. Yes. A lot of those guys, there was no therapy and stuff for the Vietnam veterans. They came back and they were pretty much on their own. My mom said when my father did his 2 tours over there, he came back a different man. And a lot of, especially in our culture, a lot of us came back to the stigma of you went over there to fight for the white man and this, that, or whatever it was. Think about all the pressure that those young men and women went through during that time. They came back totally different and totally changed. Lack of appreciation, lack of jobs. Because how many of you guys seen the movie Dead Presidents? Lorenz Tate and Chris Tucker acted their asses off in that movie, but and the Bush Right. But that was a prime example of going over there and coming back, and your community is worse than when you left it. And these guys were looking for answers and questions, right? And we're having that today with benign neglect. We're getting pushed out of our neighborhoods with nowhere to go. So, again, the stigma of it is so true, but we've got to get past, and I was talking to a guy in the chat just a few seconds ago, we got to get past the Vietnam era VA, okay? What happened to the Vietnam era VA, it was a damn shame, but it was an era that has now passed us. The VA of today, I'm not saying it's the answer for everything, but it is way better than what it was for the Vietnam era veterans. And Demetra, and I'm sure a lot of you people that know these veterans that are about my age, if not older, that are living very well, doing very good for themselves, getting the treatments and things that they need. So, we got to get past that. I mean, the stigma, and I'm not shaming anybody that I was talking to in the thing, but as a military person, I get very offended when people keep calling that same line, like the military ain't shit, this, excuse my language, Demetra, da. Somebody has to fight these wars. Somebody has to defend your freedom. If you're not going to do it, somebody's got to do it. The fact of the matter is, let's move on past that. The VA is not the same VA as it was 60 years ago.
Absolutely. D-Max says it's definitely necessary. He says, especially after bad relationships over the years, people usually just move on without working on past issues. They carry them to the next relationship. It's toxic. And you know what? I'm glad that you said that, because people are getting in relationships unhealed. And again, I don't know what their situation is, but you're right. People get in relationships unhealed. They just take the trauma to one relationship, then the next and the next and the next, and they just keep compiling all the trauma instead of saying, stop. Let me unpack what's going on with me, whether it was my fault, not my fault, whatever it is. Let me just sit down and unpack it. That's why I tell y'all, I joke a lot about me being single and relationship stuff, but no, that's, why I'm single. This is, I think, the longest I've been single as an adult, right? And I'm all right with that. Because again, going to therapy and kind of understanding some things that I didn't really see clearly. I'm like, you know what? I have to get to like me, right? I have to get to like being in a relationship with myself, because a lot of times, we think we need to be with somebody to be happy, and companionship is cool. Don't get me wrong, but it has to be the right companionship. You got to be the right companion, right? You can't just be in the relationship bringing bad stuff or baggage with you, because then you're just ruining that. It's a lie. It's a snowball oxymoron, right? Or not even oxymoron, but whatever. From hell, right? So you have to, you really have to unpack those things, right? And getting into relationships, we got to start asking them questions, in a sense, trying to get to, are you a healed person? Because me personally, I only want to be in a relationship with a healed person, because I feel like I've done the work to heal myself. And I'm not about to be getting in a relationship with somebody who always complaining, talking about the past, old relationship, and hell to the no, homie. Hell to the no. Because you know why? Because I'm not a therapist, and I'm not trying to be your therapist. Baby, I can listen to you and all that, but I'm not about to be listening to what you was doing in 1992 and all. Hell no, okay? Especially at this big old age of 55, I'm not trying to be with somebody's son that acts like a child, that won't go to therapy, that won't unpack. And I'm going to say this too. Now, I'm trying not to get in trouble. I know a lot of people who go to therapy, and I'm like, are you listening? Are you taking the advice that they're giving you? I'm talking about people been in therapy for years, and they just as cuckoo as they was the day they stepped in the damn office. Like, for real, it's like you not listening. Like, you might need to change your therapist or something, and then they want to come and like, oh, hell no, because I can't send you an invoice. Okay, you might need to take the advice from the person you laying on the couch from. I don't know. I probably said too much though. El Buddha, how you doing? Says, I'm in the insurance business. Says, using the VA can be difficult because the locations can be very far. They keep you on drugs to pacify you. 90% aren't working, or you can't work because of a disability.
Right. I agree with you. And I address that in the comments. You got to remember, you have to be your best advocate. It's not it's the VA's fault because you decided to move to the sticks. That's not the VA's fault. But here's a fact. If you do live out far, the VA has transportation where you will be reimbursed for living out far. Do you know what the biggest problem with the VA when it comes to veterans are? The damn veterans. That's the biggest problem, the damn veterans. They want everything catered to them on their time. Do you know how many appointments are wasted and missed because veterans don't even bother to show up? Your tax dollars going to waste. I mean, it's not as much as California and Somali fraud like that, but there's a lot of money wasted. The biggest problem with the VA is the veterans themselves. The veterans have to be their own advocate. Nobody could make you take drugs. You know, this appeal to authority. You go to the doctor says, here, take this, take that, take that. What? You're not doing your own research? You're not questioning the doctor? And that's just not for veterans. That's for anybody that goes to the medical treatment. You're supposed to question the doctor. He has these big sounding words and all this other stuff. So no. I'm going to have to disagree with that in that aspect, especially as somebody who advocates for veterans. And Demetra, what do I say is the hardest part of me dealing with these veterans?
A lot of them don't want to go through the process.
Thank you. Getting them started. They don't even want to go through the damn process.
I think there's probably some truth on both sides of it. You know, sometimes access to medical help is not as, as we think it is. I would imagine if I didn't have a car and the VA, whatever it was far, it'd be kind of hard to get there. I tell you what, I've gone to the VA quite a few times. And one of the last times I went with a friend, there was a gentleman who was in a wheelchair. He didn't have any legs. And he was, trying to wheel across the thing. And all these people, veterans and people just passing them by. And so me, I had on my heels, right, as I usually do if I go out, okay? Had on my heels. I said, do you need some help? And he looked, he says, yeah, I wouldn't mind a pretty lady like you pushing me. I pushed this man all the way across the thing. And if you've been to any VA, like the big, it's huge, right? Especially here in Houston, pushed him all the way across. I said, where you need to go? He told me where he need to go. Pushed him into the elevator, took him all the way to the top and pushed him all the way exactly where he needed to go. And I says, do you need me to stay to help you? And I went with somebody else, right? But I'm saying all these people passed them by and I'm a woman. Why am I asking this man, do he need, these men, right? Or whoever it is, they should have been fighting to wheel this veteran with no legs, mind you, to where nobody did though. So I guess I'm saying that to say it sounds good, but some people need an extra push. But sometimes there's not people to give them that extra push unless you got a Demetra K on the scene. I'm just saying, it was my pleasure, right? He was a cute old man and all of that, and kept flirting with me. It was so cute. But I'm like, man, he's gonna take him forever to get there.
Yeah, but then when I asked him to go to the VA with me, no, it can't be done. Nah, I'm busy.
I will go to the VA with anybody who asks me, because I know a lot of veterans who go to the VA, and I get it, that support system is necessary. And y'all, you ain't lying. Y'all stubborn as hell. Want to sit up and argue with the doctor, this, that, and the other. I'll be like, shut your mouth, okay? The doctor know what they tell me. Shut up. And what y'all do? You shut up, okay? I mean that with love, but shut your mouth, okay? I don't want to, why? Because you have to, okay? Corey, I see a therapist every week. Yeah, some people just need to do that, and that's okay, right? Baraka, did I say hi to you? Now, hello. It says, we forget that the mind helps fuel your entire body and refuse to get that part of our body checked. Such a shame. Yeah, because it's that stigma. Oh, you're going to a shrink, a head doctor. Oh, what's wrong with you? You crazy? Just take some Robitussin. You'll be all right. Some ginger ale. Okay.
Yeah, so true. Do us a favor, you guys. It's absolutely free. Hit that like button, help the algorithm. If you want to buy Demetra K a coffee, please feel free to do that.
Yes, indeed. And Ernest, yes, Dead Presidents, it is very relevant. It's a good movie. It talks about basically what happened to these veterans when they come back. It's like, what? It's so unfortunately sometimes they get into some gangster things, but I don't think that is like that now. I don't know, Uh let's see. Who else is Sister Shirley says my husband passed in 2011. He was only 63 years old, a baby, in the larger scheme of things. And you're right, a lot of people just come back from these wars and it just, a lot to unpack, and they don't get a chance to unpack it, and that's why I would say too, I don't know, if you know somebody like that, try your best to get them help. I was speaking to a veteran about 2 weeks ago for a few hours, right? I mean, he just didn't. When I was talking to him, he said, "I didn't realize these things," right? And I'm not a therapist. I do have, some certifications, but not on the therapy level. I think I'm a good listener and know how to talk things through with people and things like that. So he found it to be very helpful. Um, Twilight, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Donovan, you have something to say? My aunt, what's going on with you? And black, red, white, and blue. I think it's Alicia. Y'all names be twisted around. He says exactly. I don't even know what I said, but y'all agree with me. Bernard, what's going on with you? Says narcissists go to therapy, don't heal. Ooh. You said a word, because you know what? Now that I think about it, it is narcissistic people they stay in therapy, and it's like, I think you might be getting worse. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it's the me. Well, let me tell you what happened. Oh gosh, it's the whole world's fault. It's not mine. I'm like, boy, they just collecting your money. Andre, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Let's see for her good. What's going on? So thank you, Demetri K, for all you do and covering this. You know what? It's my pleasure. Like I said, there's a million and one things I wanted to talk about, but I saw this. I was like, I think it deserves a conversation. Again, God bless everybody in every one of those situations. We don't know why these people did what they did. I guess we'll find out one day. Maybe we won't, but I just don't want to be one of the ones that make excuses for that. Because as we've all agreed, people go through things all the time, and there's never a reason to do that. And like I said, I personally know of someone who is right now will never get out of prison for doing something similar. And it's just a lack of coping skills. Or lack of, somebody tell you no, and you just can't. I can't take no fun answer. What you mean? And you don't want to be with me? No, I think we're best just being our separate ways, and they can't handle that.
Well, let me ask you this, Demetri, and I think this is relevant to the conversation. In our community, like mass killers, that isn't really something, in the Black community. Now we're having these mass deletions within families and within the community itself. I mean, it's bad enough we were already doing that. But if you go back to the silent generation, I'm very sure stuff like that was going on, but not at the clip that it is today. What do you think could have been, the major change, other than what I've already talked about, the major stress that people are on, and there comes a breaking point? What do you think is really adding to the rise of within the Black community of these, family members and, just doing what the other man does on a regular basis versus our own community? Well, what do you think is the, that brought the rise of that to it? Social media, maybe, or something like that? What do you think?
Hey, Brother Jonell and Lee and Sister B and everybody. Brother Sammy, how you doing? I'll get to your comment in just a second. Oh, you actually said, I heard when the nation started using the tool of auditing from diabetics, he says they wondered how Black people were walking around normal. This is also tied to repair reparations. Absolutely. So you want to basically know what is the breaking point? How did we get to here? I think we probably have always kind of been here. These things aren't rare. Maybe we're hearing about it more. Maybe there is an uptick of it. I'm not quite sure. I think stress and not able to handle stress. Some people handle stress differently. Stress, as my father, and I'm sure he learned it from the nation, would always say, stress causes disease, right? Dis-ease. And with stress and disease, one thing we know, let's say stress, one thing we know about it is it will come out in one way, shape, or form, whether you become physically ill, whether your hair fall out, whether you gain weight, or whether you take it out on somebody else, or whatever it is, right? So people just have to find ways of coping with stress. And I don't think we have those conversations enough, because stress is not new. Stress has always been around. It's never going to go anywhere. Is it worse now? Yes. Stress is worse for everybody. Gas prices, food prices, the uncertainty of just life in general for a lot of people. But I think we need to have more conversations about coping. Now, I will say this as well. I think maybe, I don't know, now more so than ever, or just in general, people aren't raising their children with coping skills. Somebody's allowed to tell you no, and you have to accept that, right? Whether somebody who doesn't want to be with you anymore, you have to accept it. You don't get to, try to do the unthinkable to people, or for whatever reason, let's say you get somebody pregnant and you don't want to be with them. And we've seen this a lot. That's why I said these things aren't new, and then you take the life of the mother and the unborn child because you don't want, so it's the coping is that, well, you laid down and you created that situation, and now you need to be responsible, right? Those are the conversations we have to start having. I don't know what the situation was with the brother that took the life of his children, but whatever it is, somebody don't want to be with you or whatever, you take it on the chin, homie, and you keep it pushing. You go, you talk to a friend, a therapist. It sounds like he was a veteran, so I don't know if there were some issues there going on, but we have to start teaching coping skills. That's something we have to start teaching from the cradle. And that, if you think about it from the cradle, when you have a baby, the baby cries. Eventually, you have to teach the baby how to cope with, I'm not going to always be able to hold you, right? Or I'm weaning you from the pacifier. I'm weaning you from the bottle. You can do it. That's how you start teaching them coping skills. That life, everything in life is not going to give you everything you want. And that's okay. You figure out other things or whatever. But I just think we, especially in our community, we're dropping the ball on coping, because even in our neighborhoods, right, we're pew, 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 pewing it up, all day long. That's a lack of coping skills, right? As the older men would say, we used to get them up with our fists, right? Or whatever, sticks and bottles. I don't know. Maybe that was the West Side Story. But nowadays, people run around and they just spraying up the whole block, and rarely getting the person that they're looking for. Just emotional, no coping skills, and no conflict resolution skills. I think that's probably the best. No conflict resolution skills at all. Most people don't even know what that is.
And real quick, kind of follow this up. There's something that's been trending on the internet or YouTube streets. What's that girl, Marie? The girl that got deleted in Africa recently by her fiance, and they said they had gotten an argument. So I would kind of agree with what you're saying. There's no coping skills, because what kind of argument after proposing to somebody, then you guys get in an argument, and next thing you know, one of the people is deleted. So I would kind of agree with what you just said.
Hey, Brother Thunder, how you doing? Avenge the Ancestors, thank you so much for that. Says, thank you, Brother Don and Queen Demetria, for all you do, Black first. Thank you, and thank you, thank you, thank you. So I am familiar with the situation. What was the lady's name?
Ashley or something like that.
Janae.
Yeah, Ashley Janae or something like that. And she ended up deleted.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've been seeing the commentary, some of it on that. She went to Tanzania with her fiance, is a white guy. I don't know. They met somewhere over here, went out there. He proposed to her for her birthday, and then she never made it back. The allegation is that she, strung herself up and took her own life. But a lot of people are like, that doesn't make any sense, because she was just posting about getting engaged and how happy she was and things like that. Now, there's, I guess, some stuff coming out that maybe the dude is affiliated with the Triple K. I don't know, right, what the deal is with that. I also seen that she was posting some disparaging things about Black men. So there's a lot of commentary about, people saying we don't care and things like that. I don't know. It's a lot going on in the world, but I just know for me, I wouldn't be in Tanzania. I wouldn't be in Riverside. I wouldn't be in San Bernardino at a Motel 6 with one of them. I don't know, right? And it just kind of debunks the theory of some of the things she was saying. You know that the white man is where is at is like you don't research, you don't study. I don't know, right? So I don't really have a lot to say about that. I'll just say, unfortunate for her that is the outcome. It sounds like her family is still trying to get her body, or maybe they did by now. From Tanzania. And I know her father had a GoFundMe going for her. Uh, it's a lot going on. It's sad.
Yeah, but again, it's around the world, black, white, whatever. I just think the stress of just trying to make a living, trying to pay the rent, $1,000 car notes on Camrys and whatever, these little, it's a lot. And the sad thing is, and this is not to all, whatever, but we're not leaving much of a legacy for the children that are going to be left behind after us. And it's sad.
We could change that. We got a lot of things going on in our community. Like Brother Todd said, the fall of America is not just for white people, it's for us as well. We're in America. You know what I mean? And as student minister Ishmael Muhammad said today, we have been told for so long to get our stuff together. Do for self, do for self, do for self is exactly what he said. He repeated it. We've been told to do for self. Stop depending on everybody outside of ourselves. And so because we are refusing to do that, we are just, also going to unfortunately benefit from the fall of America. Um, but it's not just about money, it's about a whole host of things, right? Raising our children. I hear the criticism about politics. I call it the three P's: politicians, pastors, and parents. And when it comes to that trifecta, if you will, so if it's regarding your children, you are the most part of that, the most important part. You can blame the politicians, sure. You can even blame the pastors, but you had the children. You had the children. It's up to you to raise the children, up to you to teach them something, make them conducive citizens in society or whatever. And unfortunately, in our community, it's all communities, but I'm speaking about ours. We've just decided that we don't want to teach or leave a legacy or any of those other things. We are too distracted, busy with things that don't matter. Um, and we are seeing the results of us being because we talk about benign neglect of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to the Black community, but we rarely talk about the benign neglect that we practice against our own, our own children. That's huge, right? Benign neglect of your own children by realizing there's a problem, but you refuse to do the things to right the wrong. You just ain't my problem. I send them to school. I'll let the teacher have to figure it out, right? You ignore that there's a problem with your children, and then you see what happens. Then you're the one to say, not my baby. Oh, no, it is your baby. Okay. Your baby going up the river for life or worse, because you saw there was a problem and you decided not to do anything about it. Right. So, yeah. Let's see. Who else came in the building? Yes, you have a logical thinker. How you doing? Gwen, what's going on with you? Says Democrats suck. Okay. Kate Port, what's going on with you? Let's see. Corey says exactly, since people don't know how to react to the word no. Yeah, and that's how a lot of people get in trouble, right? I'm allowed to tell you no. I don't no doesn't even need an explanation. I don't have to tell you why I said no. I said no. Not because what had happened was, or why you, I don't owe you all that. And again, teach your children, boys and girls, that you have to be all right with just no. Nobody owes you any explanation behind that, right? Facts, not feelings. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, a very horrific day. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of other things I want to talk about, but I don't know. I wish I didn't have to talk about this. April, how you doing?
So don't forget to say hi to Mo Perspectives.
I did. That's the average logical thinker. Let's see. Brother Jonell says people that runs from self-empowerment and self-correction only embraces self-destruction and self-demise. We don't live in a nation of growth be redundant, but redundancy and idolizing, and we must grow in self-discipline, morality, and principle. Our foundation is toxicity, a toxic rather mentality, physically, and this must change. Yeah. There's a lot of toxic nature in our community. And unfortunately, I think we just kind of think it's normal, right? when I say we, I mean collectively, every day, it's just what it is, right? Like when we talk about, let's say, the hood or the inner city or whatever it is, we talk about it as though that's just normal activities. That's not normal. It's not normal to hear about the unaliving of people, especially babies, right? That's not normal. I think people think something being normal is because they've gotten used to it. And people should never get used to living in an environment like that. And it has to be fixed. But as when people interview me and they ask me what the solution is, I always say we are who we're waiting on. We're waiting on Jesus, the Democrats, who are Republican. We are who we're waiting on. We have to fix it. There's nobody else that's going to do it but us. So you're right. Yeah, I was logical thinker. Conflict resolution. We don't talk about that at all, right? Because conflict happens all day long. Who ate my leftovers? Okay, there's a conflict. Well, I did. Why did you eat my leftovers? Okay, let's resolve this. What's the solution? Well, the solution is next time, don't eat what's not yours, right? But in the meantime, how do we fix it? Can you Watusi yourself to the store and get me some more, right? We figure out conflicts instead of rolling around the living room trying to fight over something that's not even there anymore. Does it suck that somebody ate your leftovers out the refrigerator? Yes, it does. But is it worth you going upstate, right? Because you didn't somebody with a fork.
A lot of you guys in the comments also get brought up a good point. Remember, we grew up where grandma and everybody in the neighborhood, and I'm not saying we grew up in we grew up in a very disciplined community, right? I'll admit it. I've never got an ass whipping I didn't earn. I admit that, wholeheartedly. But you got to remember, though, if you talk about these new parents, especially with the rise of the single parent, you don't really have time to negotiate and talk. Everything is, I'm gonna beat your ass, or this, that. It's always fight. There is no really talk. My mom didn't really have time to talk to me. It was do as I say, and we'll deal with that later. If not, there's consequences. And I just feel that you see, even when I hear these young, people at the park with their kids, especially the Black young mothers, everything is violence with them. Everything is cursing with them. So the conflict resolution is just not there. It's just not there. Everything with them, the solution is violence. And so if that is what your kids experience as they get older, what do you think they're going to do to their children and their relationships? Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it's taught behavior, learned behavior. Yeah, y'all talking about Ashley Janae, I think, or whatever her name was, that they got into it. Yes, I did hear that as well. As a divester, yeah, I guess that's what she was. Victorious, how you doing? Says overwhelming sometimes. And I want to go back to, let's see, OG Phil. You say, y'all sad. It's black though. He says, I'll say you basically, we're sad that it's black, that they were black. But if it was a man, it would be, it sounds about white. I think you meant if it was a white man. I mean, honestly, I think it's wrong when anybody does it. I don't think taking somebody's life is a color thing. I have heard the criticism that it sounds like typically that's something that white people do, white men do, or whatever. I said earlier, this is not rare. This is not rare in our community. Maybe we hear about it more. I don't know who does it more. Even if somebody does it once, it's still wrong. You know what I mean? So I personally don't try to get into those types of discussions because as it is, regardless of what color the kids are, there's 8 of them. That I mean, I just couldn't imagine seeing my father coming to do something like that to me. One did jump out of the window, and escaped and things like that. But it just doesn't matter what color the child is. I would never minimize or maximize a situation due to the skin color. It doesn't make any sense, but I hear what you're saying though. Let's see, skipping down. Black man, what's going on with you? Long time no see. He says always praising the Most High. Yes, indeed. Kevin says the suspect. They suspect that the authorities were paid off by the guy who she was engaged to. That's why they agreed with the unaliving claim. So you're talking about in Tanzania. I've heard all those speculations or whatever. One thing about when stuff like this happen, people get all up on the internet and say all kind of stuff. What we'll know is what we'll know. I mean, that could be true, right? But we just don't know. And Victoria says, so true. When we know better, we do better. Absolutely. Tradina, what's going on with you? Says most high Yahweh. He says, we need your supernatural help. Yes. And that's absolutely true. At this point, it's going to take God to solve a lot of these things. God has also told us that I know you need to be solving them as well. But the world is in a bad space that, as Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in 2017, especially in regards to the war, or to Trump, he said, do not allow Israel to drag you into a war. And here we are. And it's been said that America as we know it will never be the same. And not just America, but the world. And it's crazy. Somebody sent me something of a white man saying the same exact thing, that the world as we know it will never go back. It'll never be the same. Because right now we're in a war where the Trump administration is just they lying every day, talking about we got a ceasefire and all this other stuff. And Iran is like, you a damn lie. We ain't agreed to no ceasefire with you, because what they figured out Trump is doing is he's manipulating the stock market by saying, oh, we got a ceasefire, and then the stock market rallies, and then they find out that he's lying, and so now people are just kind of on to him. But Iran says, we ain't, and matter of fact, since you lying about us stuff, we're going to block off the Strait of Hormuz again. And so 2 naval ships from India tried to pass through, and they let off some shots. It's like, don't be listening to them Trump tweets, because we said it was closed.
Yeah, and you know what's really crazy about all that? And I keep trying to tell people this Democrat, Republican, Zionist, whatever it isn't about that. It's about the have and the have-nots. That's what it comes down to. Either you got the money or you don't. Because the reason I say that is this. Oh, Trump. Oh, Trump did this. Trump did that. Where were you people that were so against when Biden did it? Where were you people against when Obama did it? You see what I'm saying? Because it's Trump, and I'm not defending Trump. I'm just saying these are the same people. When are we going to get out of the mindset that if my team, your team, there's only one team, the ruling party, and they're both Democrats and Republicans? How many lies do we have to hear before we get it? This is the same playbook George Bush used. It's the same playbook Obama used, the same playbook that Clinton used. Everybody, my team, my team, my team. And while they're taking billions and millions of dollars and dropping $1 million bombs that you're paying for, you have no help in your homelessness. You have no help in the school lunch programs. You have no help in your property taxes. No help for the average citizen. People are losing more and more and more under either of these parties. But everybody still wants to play this my team, your team BS. The fact of the matter is, either you've got the money or you don't got the money. And like Demetra and I have to keep telling you guys over the years, you guys that have been rocking with us for years, we keep telling you guys, read the first chapter of the Communist Manifesto. And that's going to tell you how all of this is going to end. We are going to get so poor. People are going to get so poor out there. They're going to get so crushed. They have no other choice but to rise up out of survival and kill the bourgeoisie and take over the means of production and start over again.
Yeah, it's coming to a head. But the unfortunate part is a lot of people aren't prepared. And Sister B says, do a preparation video. Ooh, I wouldn't even know where to start. Oh gosh, I read a good book. And this is, hopefully y'all can see it, but it's called Weathering the Storm, Disaster Preparedness, How to Survive Fall of America by Sister Landra L. Muhammad. And within this book, she talks about, it's a workbook, if you will, to the fall of America, but she talks about, it's kind of hard to see, but all the things that you need. See, there's checklists in here, some of the things you might need. Make sure that you're prepared. I highlighted some things, and it's really good, right? Where to go. It's a really good book. She wrote it in 2014, but it's still apropos to, especially to what we're going on today, because we're seeing fall of America more and more. But again, weathering the storm, disaster preparedness, how to survive the fall of America by Landra L. Muhammad. Very simple. Read through it in, like, I don't know, an hour or whatever. So it's a very simple read, and all of that. But this is a good way to get prepared because she walks you through that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and a lot of people that don't agree with the Communist Manifesto. I'm not a communist, but look at all the socialists that are running around thinking that everything's free. Somebody's got to pay. Look what's going on. I keep telling you guys, watch Chicago, watch New York City. You already saw the playbook here in California. California's destroyed. California's destroyed. But you got all these socialists, whatever. But if you guys really want a playbook, I'm gonna give you guys a good hint. Start buying some solar panels because you want your hot water, you want your things, to kind of go, especially if you go in the mountains. Watch the movie Red Dawn 1984. How many guys remember that movie? All the stars were in it, Patrick Swayze, everything. I'm doing a lot of movies today, but excellent movie of what's going to happen and how you're going to have to survive. You're going to have to go back to day one. You're going to have to go back to day one. And ladies, no shame to you, but like Demetra said, read whatever books you got. It was really funny, Demetra. I was at the store, at the hardware store, and a young lady comes in and she didn't even know how to put in a wall mount to hang something. She was hanging up a vanity and she didn't know how to use a wall anchor. And I was looking at her like, do you got a man or you got a dad? Somebody can help you? Oh no, I think I can just do it myself. I said, well, look, not to get in your business, make sure you watch YouTube University and, make sure you do it the right way. But if I were you, get you somebody, an uncle, brother, somebody that could come and do it. So.
Yes, indeed. I'm just reading some of y'all comments. Facts Not Feeling says, regarding the divester, it's alleged she knew her white knight was running through the local females in Tanzania like he was a track meet. That's what they were fighting about. That's crazy. I don't know. It's just yeah. I guess you think you know a person and you don't, but I don't know. I'm gonna say allegedly, and no doubt in my mind that he did that to her. None of that makes any sense, right? Brother Samuel says the fact that he had 8 or so children in today's time could be a symptom of seeking pleasure. Come on now, from the physical, instead from the mental and spiritual realm. Physical is only temporary. It's funny because my daughter and I were kind of talking about that as well. And I said, wow, he had 8 children. Sounds like not all by the same lady, maybe some different ones, whatever. And I said, yeah, that could be stressful in and of itself, having a bunch of children by different women. He's only 31 years old, so that's quite a bit of children, I would think, for that young. But the other part of that, again, the coping skills is, well, nobody told you, sir. Again, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm just saying I think it's the obvious conversation. Nobody told you to have all these children, and that he's not rare. There's a lot of people, men and women, having a bunch of children they can't take care of for whatever reason, and then times get tough. But those are the conversations you're supposed to be having before you get in that situation, right? I know, as my mom used to always say, hindsight is 2020, which means looking back, I can see perfectly, right? But and I'm speaking from experience. I had my daughter at 21. I wasn't married or whatever, but I wasn't gonna have them all, right? Because I couldn't afford it or whatever it is. But those are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Wow, if I get into bed with this person, because the purpose of getting into bed with each other is to procreate. I think people think that's the last thing we in the bed to do, right? The purpose of that is procreation. But if I get into bed with this person, it's possible that we can make a baby, right? Am I in a position to take care of the baby? And if I don't stay with the mom or whatever it is, am I going to have the means to fork out child support or help take care of this child? And if you answer no to any of the, or if do I want to be with this person for 18, whatever life, right? Because that's a lifelong relationship. Do I want to be connected to this person? If you answer no, then get your ass up. Excuse my French, but it is get up. Don't be rolling around and because you're gambling, right? You're playing Russian. I probably shouldn't do that, but you're playing Russian roulette, right? You're hoping and wishing that, oh, maybe I'm not gonna get pregnant, or I'm not gonna get pregnant. It's a crapshoot. And then she talking about did you see the text that I sent you? Like, 30 minutes ago because you didn't respond. I'm late. What you late for? I'm late. Like late. Yes, I'm late. Because right, you wasn't expecting that. So those are the conversations you have before you get the I'm late text, you know. Abigail says, my bad, y'all. I'm out and about moving around. Now you gotta do what you gotta do, brother. I got to do what you got to do.
But see, I'm gonna say this, and please, you guys, hit that like button for us. It's absolutely free. If you want to buy Demetra a cup of coffee, please do so. She gets up early in the morning to get these conversations going. But then again, you know, in the modern age, see, the problem is because we are so modern, and when we were younger, oh, mom, you know, that's old fashioned. That's what y'all used to do. Everything's new. A lot of these young people aren't afraid about getting pregnant. You got your sexy reds promoting certain things and doing whatever they're doing because you can get the after birth pill or whatever this thing is. Every time there's a gathering, you always hear about Houston, Atlanta, all the rises of these, you know, these STI situations because these younger people they're in a modern age to where they think everything could be fixed with a pill.
Yeah, you know, how does it go? An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. I know I probably got that wrong. My mom used to always say that. That basically,
that's right, absolutely.
Yeah, that basically means, you know, talk more about preventative measures depending on, well, no matter what it is, you know, have those conversations, the what ifs, okay? What would happen if like that? Like, I'm kind of like that in a sense. I like to try to, you know, think about different scenarios and what will happen and blah, 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 you know, depending on what it is. I don't go outside much. I'm not really in, you know, any situations like that often, but we have to train our children to go over those things. You know, if I do A, B, C, and D, what could happen? Could I get in trouble? Am I willing to pay the price for whatever that may be? And if the answer is hell no, see, I have one of those mamas that you cannot call her collect if you did something you wasn't supposed to be doing, right? She's like, if you go to jail or something you did, you just say that dime home girl, okay? Don't be calling me, you know, because you know my mama loved me. Yes, she did, right? But I understood that message early. Don't be calling me if you got out there and did something you wasn't supposed to be doing. You'll be all right, you know, because the lesson is sitting down and having to understand that, yeah, maybe I should have made better decisions, especially if you weren't taught to do those things. You know what I mean? So yeah. Let's see. Facts I feel says one theory of her demise is that her what going through the I haven't heard a lot about her situation. I've heard it, but I haven't done any deep diving into it. Scoop says the homeless population is going to drastically increase by leaps and bounds. That affects us. Open your eyes. Yep, I was having that conversation with my daughter. When we was talking about this case, I said it's gonna get worse. My father used to always say that it's gonna get worse. Like we be talking about different things. He said, "Oh yeah, it's gonna get worse," right? And we are seeing that the worst happening. Like the other day, my daughter and I were driving, and here in Houston, they have like these roundabouts and these big old giant overpasses and things where people can be under there, right? Now, there's one particular overpass. We never really saw any homeless people under there. This the other day we passed through, it was like 2 or 3 encampments under there. It's like a regular busy, intersection. I said, it's gonna get worse. And I don't think we're having that conversation. It's gonna get worse. But what do we do? What do we do to absorb the impact? And it's not, see, because I know when we think about people not preparing or people being homeless or in a bad way, there's a lot of people who were 6 months ago in a gated community that are homeless. There are people 6 months ago who had it all together, but they lost their job, or they had, I don't know, something catastrophic happened that wiped out their funds. And I say that because I know a lot of times, a lot of us, when I say a lot of us collectively, we get on our high horse and we point our fingers and look at you, and you need to woulda, shoulda, coulda, would have been doing this. But as they say, there, but for the grace of God, there go I, because that could be me. Thank God that is not. But I would never get on a high horse and try to tell somebody what they coulda, shoulda. Now, there's some people out there who, yeah, okay, you kind of did this to yourself type of thing. But there's a lot of people who really just didn't. Because as we speak, there's a lot of people who cannot afford $7 a gallon for gas due to no fault of their own. But somehow that paycheck that they got, that they already couldn't buy a loaf of bread with, now they really can't buy a loaf of bread. But unfortunately, there'll be some, I almost said a very strong word, person out there that'll blame them for not being able to keep up due to something that had nothing to do with them.
And we're not even talking about the democratic policies in democratic cities and states where they're criminalizing homelessness. They're criminalizing homelessness. It is a crime to be homeless in California. How many of you guys have heard about that?
Well, it's a crime to be homeless anywhere. The Supreme Court basically said that states and cities or whatever have the right to knock over encampments or pick them up, whatever, and jail them if necessary. So California is just one of the states that are utilizing that particular thing. A Democrat state on top of that gives most of their money, I would imagine, and it's being unfolded as we speak. They do spend a lot of money with illegal immigration. While people are homeless on the streets and they are knocking over homeless encampments. I talked about this last week. They're knocking over homeless encampments. Mia Bonta from Oakland, she is championing the Stop Nick Shirley law, which basically says that independent journalists could get in trouble. She's saying it's about doxing, but what it really is she doesn't want people like him to uncover where they're spending the money. And it sounds like they're spending a lot of California taxpayers' funds on helping illegal immigration. And her husband is the Attorney General, Rob Bonta. And so it is said that they are working in tandem to try to pull the wool over people's eyes. They're in California, where there's a lot of homeless people, and the most homeless, I said, is Black folks. So yeah, Nirvana says, how you doing? I see you got another page. It says, where were you people who claim to oppose Biden and Obama so much at during their entire term? Because I don't recall y'all having major protests against them. Therefore, you people love them. I don't even know what you're talking about. What you drinking? Sunday, you having a nice little some sherry, some wine, some Ripple, some Thunderbird. What's the word? What you having today? I don't even know what you're talking about. So Tony, he says, mofos gonna cry about socialism while corporate welfare and Republicans have decimated the economy and literally smeared ish all over the Capitol. Can I be honest with you? They've all smeared ish all over the Capitol. All of them have done it. As I said, see, listen, I'm nonpartisan, and I really wish us, especially us as Black folks, I'm doing some reading. I don't have my book here in my bedroom. I'm doing some reading, and what I've read, I had to I'm one of those people, when I read stuff, I had to pause and reflect. And I told my daughter last night, I said I have to stop reading this because it pissed me off. That was the word that I used. But if we understood and knew the job that was done on us as Black folks by the Democrat Party, this is done a long time ago to us, right? Deanna, can you bring me my book, please?
This was real quick. Miss Sweets is in the chat. Hey, Miss Sweets, welcome back.
And what I really wish we would learn is that there's not a party in Washington here now, back in the day, that will ever come that loves or will do anything for Black folks, right? They won't, especially Black Americans, which is why we were told to do for self. But I'm reading this book, right? It's a big read. I'm reading a lot of books now, so I'm trying to really focus on finishing this series. But it's a secret relationship between Blacks and Jews. This is the second volume. It says how they gained control over a Black American economy. And let me get to the part that I really like. I've been having to meditate on this for a couple of days because it's just really mind-blowing. Now, I should say this book is by the Nation of Islam. It is not an opinion piece. It's not we think, we're speculating. That all this right here, it comes from their community, they being a Jewish community. I'm just telling you what it is. It's all the proof and footnotes and everything in this. But this particular line really effed me up, okay? And I'll read it to you. It says, historian Theodore Salutis summed up the abusive relationship all European Americans had with African Americans. Blacks were deceived by many in whom they trusted, and they were unacceptable to those who were in a position to help them. And by all accounts, and with a few exceptions, Jewish beliefs rather about blacks closely mirrored the Southern way of thinking. One of the founding professors of Brandeis University, Charlestonian Jew Ludwig Louis Sean, there's some of these names I can't pronounce, basically says, grew up believing that this is what had me stuck for a couple of days. The Democratic Party was the only means under providence of saving the white race from the obliteration of the N-word. So basically what it is saying is that the Democratic Party, I don't know, in a sense, was going to rock these Negroes to sleep because the false belief was that, oh, it's the Negroes are going to destroy us. So it's going to take the Democratic Party to keep them at bay from destroying the rest of us. This is not a science fiction book. This is not, again, it's not some novel. This is all facts from their works. This is all the stuff that's cited. So again, when I read that, and listen, the next part that I'm going to is, I'm drawing a point here. The next part that I'm going to says Southern Jews and their black scapegoats. And I had to stop because I'm like, I got to get in this place mentally where I can finish reading that because I can almost assume where it's going. So what I'm saying is, yes, we have been taught as black folks to blame the Republicans and forget, never mind, we used to be that, okay? But to blame Republicans and all the Democrats of the party of black people, are they really? How is the Democrats the party of black people when black folks, especially black Americans, are still asking for our reparations? But then you got Democrats talking about we're going to give reparations to illegal immigrants. How are they for black folks? I'm telling you, and the one part of this book, it talked about how they had, after slavery, a servant who they called, the kids called Uncle, and he slept under the porch with the cow. Okay? So you hear about these Democrats, Representative Jay Paul, if you don't know who I'm talking about getting reparations for illegal immigrants, but you got stories of black folks sleeping under the porch. This is after slavery. This is not the stuff they did to us in slavery, but after slavery, they had them sleeping under the porch with the cow. Okay? But yet, all we do is talk about the Republicans, but we never talk about the benign neglect and disrespect of the Democratic Party. They all smearing crap all over Washington. They all are, because neither party has done a damn thing for black Americans, and neither party will. That's why we have to do for self. But we gotta stop going off of what Roland and them are telling us. We gotta start getting in these books, because you know why? A book like this is 3 of them. You know why these books can make it? Because they know you won't read them. This stuff right here will blow your mind. It will destroy everything you thought you knew about politics and black folks, just in general, United States in general. But see, they know you won't read it. They know you're going to go off the talking points of Shields and everything they tell you. Don't you know them Shields got their marching orders to who you think they get them from? They want you to think it's just the Republicans. No, it's all of them.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because if you watch the original movie Birth of a Nation, which one of the worst Democratic presidents other than Andrew Jackson, which was Woodrow Wilson, filmed it in the White House, that movie basically glorified the KKK as the savior of white people against the Black Horde, which is what that book kind of references that thing. If you watch them, I think you can watch it here on YouTube. Birth of a Nation, the original one. There's no sound to it, but that's what it glorified the KKK protecting whiteness. And President Woodrow Wilson said that it's the truth. And after that, 20,000 black federal employees was fired by President Woodrow Wilson. And it's funny how these Democratic shills never talk about that. Oh, Trump fired all these black federal workers. Well, Trump fired a lot of workers, period. But yeah, there's a lot of black people in there. But a Democratic president in 1918 or whatever it was got rid of all Black people in federal government. Nobody talks about that. But again, the Democratic Party shows you who they are in history, in books. And if you look at their policy, it is still true today. They haven't changed their platform of what they were incorporated on. Their platform still stands true today. Whiteness, the suppression of the Black man, so on, so forth.
Absolutely. Murphy's Law Scoop. And then Brother Jonell says, we love to ignore and be oblivious to the evil history of our colonizers toward us and turn the other cheek as programmed in the name of so-called love to our demise and act surprised when the wolf, aka the same open enemy, devour us. None will love you like your own. Right. And we've been taught to not love each other. That's all the stuff that we see going on in our community is by design. That what we are conditioned to be that way. But again, you know, they know we won't read these things. They know that we won't get it. I mean, it's not a hard book to read. I say heavy. I mean, it's heavy like physically, but it's heavy because like these people said these things. These were in publications, their books. Like this stuff was out in the open. You know, in the Nation of Islam, they put it together and it's like, wow, whoa, type of thing. But they know we won't get in these books, which is why it's important to turn the TV off, you know, and sit down and read like we used to. Lisa says a lot of these celebrities have no morals. Well, they got the same handlers. Like I said, get in some of these books. You'll understand why a lot of them have no morals. They're in a sense kind of told don't have any, especially when it comes to our community, right? Don't have no morals. We want your people to be low guttered, you know, you know, in our lower desires under our clothes, not thinking straight. That they want us like that, right? Let's see, skipping on down. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? Dr. J.H. Irons, what's going on with you? Arlene says, right, Demetria, so many people are still losing their jobs. Yeah, and it's going to get worse, you know? Brother Jonell says, proper preparation prevents poor performance. COVID was just a sign. Whoo! Says of things to come, and people went right back to business as usual. Huh? Whoo, that was close. Whoo. But no, that was just like you said, that was just a warm-up. Facts Not Feeling says $7 a gallon for gas makes the e-bike and electric cars, not Tesla, look real good.
Do you guys want to know what's crazy about all these e-bikes that you're seeing now? If you go to Asia and China, what do the majority of the population ride? E-bikes. We're having a whole cultural shift. Ask yourself this. What is America anymore? When I was coming up, you would see barbecues, hamburgers, American flags flying. There was American culture. You didn't really see people riding bikes other than BMX bikes, you know, bikes or 10 speeds or something like that. But look at what happened when they opened the borders and let military-aged men into this country. How many American traditions do we even celebrate? Everything is indigenous land, this, that, or the other. And again, I get everybody, oh, I'm not American, whatever. The point is you live here. The point is you live here. You have to assimilate here. How many times have you guys gone to restaurants or into a service store and the person that's serving you can't even understand your English? This is where we're at in America. What about America do you recognize from when you were growing up here?
Yeah, my daughter and I went to get a salad the other day, and I kid you not, you know, the doctor told me that I'm losing some of my hearing in my right ear, so I thought it was me, you know. And I couldn't understand that lady for nothing. My daughter couldn't either. I said, okay, it ain't just me, right? I couldn't understand her. It took us a minute to order the salad because I was like, what in the hell? Now there was some other people working there that did speak English, but she was at the front line. There's a place called Salada. Very expensive. Won't be eating there very much often, but I couldn't understand nothing that lady was saying.
Mm-hmm. Sunlight says it best. Sunlight says they assimilate with anti-blackness quick, fast, and in a hurry. Exactly. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Like I said, I hope I'm not the only one noticing this. I don't notice anything I know I live in Southern California, but living here as long as I have, Dimitri, you've lived here a long time as well. It doesn't look like the same place. It looks like Tijuana, Mexico now. I mean, it's just totally changing. And our representatives don't represent us, they represent them.
Yeah, they gotta go. I don't live in California anymore, but I'm gonna tell you, if I did, I would vote against. If I could vote 100 times, I will vote against all the Democrats there. I'm telling you, especially Democrats in California, they hate Americans. Period. I mean, but see, the other thing is too, Donovan. They know most people won't pay attention to the way they legislate. They just think, oh, Trump bad. He's doing some funky things. Don't get me wrong. I don't not in love with what Trump is doing, but there in California, if you just stop and look and listen to the things they legislate, they champion, they fight, it's like these people really hate America. They really do. Like, this is California. But you would think that it's California is not a part of America. You think it's a whole different country, the way they go on and on about protecting illegal immigration. And it's crazy to me. I don't get it. Angela, thank you so much for that love and appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And Chris, how you doing? It says, brain not fully developed. We never talk about it, but now I'm back. Disrespectful Democratic Party. Whew. Doug, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? And Miss Sweets, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Brother Thunder says, DK, that's the name of the book. Again, I'm going to order today. What's the name of the book, rather? So it's Weathering the Storm, Disaster Preparedness, How to Survive the Fall of America by Landra L. Muhammad. So Landra, initial L, Muhammad. How to Weathering the Storm, How to Survive the Fall of America. So I'm hoping and y'all could see it. I know it's a glare. But it's a really good book. It's easy to follow and all that other stuff. You're welcome, Michelle, and thank you for being here. Mene Leak Morton, I hope I said that right. But how you doing? Says, don't forget us sleeping with what? Who doing that? I don't know who this us you talking about, but Miss Sweets. Oh, I got the book from Amazon. I think I got it from Amazon. I've had it for about a year or so from Amazon. Miss Sweet says, I'm definitely coming to visit the beautiful state of California soon. Yeah, California is very beautiful. Danny, how you doing? It says Al Sharpton and Roland Martin both are paid agents of the Democrat machine, but nobody want to talk about that. Nobody want to talk about that at all, right? They both got a bag, from Kamala when she was running. Al Sharpton got 500,000 and Roland got 350. So yeah, I'm gonna say allegedly, but that's the speculation that we know they shields for sure, right? But people don't want to have that conversation. I don't know why. But Jonelle says the Black Holocaust continues. It hasn't stopped. Reparations is a correction they can't afford when the country is founded and blooms from our degradation and invested destruction. And still to this day, we still participate in all the foolishness they have for us to participate in. Gold Crown Eyes, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. JJ says it really does not matter if the Democrats or Republicans. They're both toxic. They both do not like Black Americans at all. I was about to go think it says a secret relationship between Blacks and Jews. It's 3 volumes. 3 volumes. I can't wait to get to the 3rd one. That's the one I'm more versed on. It's a situation of Leo Frank and why the Anti-Defamation League ADL started. I can't wait to get to that one. Baraka said, Dimitri, can you please leave the name of these books? Oh, I got to put them in the comment section. I'll just hold them up. So again, that's the Weathering the Storm, Disaster Preparedness, How to Survive the Fall of America. Okay, there's a good, y'all want to take a picture of that, a screenshot of it. I got it from Amazon. Okay. And this one, there's 3 volumes of them. You can get this from, I believe, NOI.org. My dad gave me these books. Not that one, but these books. He gave these to me. So I think you could probably go on the website, but it's a secret relationship between Blacks and Jews. There's 3 volumes. And can I tell y'all something else too? And Brother Jonelle and Brother Samuel, they'll attest to it. You know who reading these books now? Y'all know who reading these books? White folks reading these books. I see them talking about on Twitter all the time. Oh, did you guys know about these books? Oh, Farrakhan was right. And I've even seen white people talking about their now studying, the nation and talking about Farrakhan. I saw a white dude. I'm gonna find that video one day. He had a picture of Master Farad Muhammad in the back and talking about the teachings of the nation and stuff. I'm like, he's a white man. Okay, they're reading these books. And you don't read them. My boy, let me not get mad. They reading the books and you won't read them. You won't, not y'all, them. Y'all won't read them. But they reading them. And they were like, damn, he was right. So yeah. Let's see, who else haven't I seen? Brother Easy E in the building. Where have you been? Ursa, what's going on? She says Shreveport is terrible for foundational Black Americans. I don't know anything about Shreveport. I'm learning from you guys saying that it's kind of difficult to live there. Quan.
Dimitra, that's where Barksdale Air Force Base is. That's where our B-52 bombers are. Some of them, there were a majority of them.
I'm only familiar with the bases in California. Quan says, don't forget who founded the movie Birth of a Nation. Yes, indeed. To continue demonizing Black people, especially Black men, said that y'all wanted they women. Facts and Phillips says China was so smart to be way ahead of the curve to see what U.S. was about to do in the Middle East. Sure was. Iran too. Iran said we knew this day was coming. That's why we can outfox you. That's why the United States does not know what they're going to do, have no clue. Trump just needs to wave the white flag and say, oops, I should have left y'all alone, because people told them to do what? You better leave them people alone over there. And he didn't listen, right? And so now it's not just the United States, it's the whole world that's affected by Trump and his little homies over there that told him to go on in there and do what they did. And they don't know how to get out of it. They're stuck.
See, well, I think the miscalculation is this. Everybody, again, history repeats itself. Everybody goes off of what history has taught them, right? At least you should, to not warn it. But one thing they forgot is we're not on a U.S. economic system. That's the difference between micro and macro. One is within your country, whatever, how you guys do things in your country. One thing's, internationally. And we're on a global economy. That's why it bothers me when I see Black women putting illegals ahead of their own children. I want to give my children as much of an advantage as I can. Why would I want to let other people into this country that are going to compete against my children for jobs and economics and resources? And it's so sad that a lot of people are woefully ignorant of what they're doing. So what I think Trump's miscalculation was, he's thinking, oh, the American economy. The American economy, there is no American economy. There's a global economy that we're a part of. And they attached us to that. And that was under George Bush the first that did that. So again, a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, in our country, you could be a total ignoramus and you could be president of the United States.
Yeah, well, he was warned. He was warned by a lot of people that don't do what you think. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warned him in 2017, don't do it. Don't do it. And America, as you know, it will never be the same. And he did it, right? And everything that the minister said is unfolding. The messenger said is unfolding, it's coming to pass. And that's what the message was about today. Like, these things are proven. These things were said. And these things are coming to fruition. But so a lot of times people say, oh, you guys are rooting for Iran. It's like, are we rooting for Iran? Or are we tired of the United States forming these narratives and propaganda about why they need to go bully people and steal their resources, kidnap presidents and countries, and a whole host of other things? Ain't nobody necessarily rooting for Iran, but it's like about time somebody punched a bully in their nose, right? And Iran is like, hey, you're not going to come do what you did. Take our leader, and kill our little girls and a whole host of other things that you've done, and think we're not going to get back. Again, they said we can't reach you, but we can reach you though, right? And so with that, there's a lot of destabilization going on because a lot of things cannot move to the Strait of Hormuz, right? A lot of their pew-pews are reaching different people, and those people are now distancing themselves from the United States. NATO is like, hey, y'all might need to get the F out, okay? Because Iran, they like, we not for play around here. And instead of Trump just saying, hey, you know what? I bit off more than I could chew. I let them people put a key in my back. And as I said, they was going to do it to Kamala too, right? But Trump, I let them put a key in my back. I bit off more than I could chew. I wrote a check, my cash. And here we are, potentially costing more lives unnecessarily, and a whole host of things. And so, yeah, it's not that people are rooting per se. It's like by time. But this was prophesized, though.
Yeah, and you also got to think, it's kind of hard to bully people when you only got so many aircraft carriers to do certain things, and people won't let you use the bases that you're out there in the NATO and all that other stuff. You know, your allies are kind of like, wait, what? What's going on? Because it's going to affect them too. And then, you know, you got a whole country of Iran. Let's say we left a whole bunch of equipment in Iraq. We just left, destroyed the place, and then left, rather than, you know, do what we got to do and take it over, you know, and colonize it, whatever you want to call it, imperialism, whatever you deal with. We didn't do that. Boom, done. But now you have the people that are living here. How many of you guys saw the news report of a general that we killed over there, or we deleted? Sorry, a general that we deleted over there. His niece and his great niece were found here in Southern California, hooping it up like California girls, dressed provocatively like Americans and stuff. This guy is an enemy of the United States that we took out. His family members are here in the United States living a non-Muslim life, even though they're Muslims. And it just goes to show you guys, the rich take care of the rich. What are these people doing here? And this just shows you what a pushover the United States is and what these countries think of us. This is why there is no military leader, no military plan that has us going into Iran with troops, because we're not going to win that. There's no way we're going to win it. It just can't be done. We don't have enough billion-dollar bombs. The only way we're going to win something like that is for the ultimate bomb. And nobody could use that. But it goes to show you, oh, we're enemies. I don't like America. America doesn't like me. But you got your family members over here living the American dream, while you're telling other women they can't dress a certain way, they can't do a certain thing, but your people can. Goes back again to the Communist Manifesto. Even in communism, you have the elite and everybody else. Read the books.
Brother Jonell says, white people are definitely reading and studying more than us, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said they would. And I posted that white man bearing witness with Master Farad Muhammad picture on my page. So there's a witness. They out there. They out there talking about their studying and their reading and, you know, all of that, right? And it's like, okay. And truth be told, yes, the teachings and brothers in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, are for the upliftment of the Black man and woman in America, but it's also for other oppressed people, including white people. Because if you believe that in my Communist Manifesto and that there's a proletariat, the proletariat aren't just Black, they're everybody, right? The underdog per se. And so for those who, you know, would turn away from the wickedness and things like that, that's for them as well. The nation, they have Hispanics in the nation as well. Brother Abel Muhammad, you know, he's a student minister as well. And I believe he's, I don't know if he's Mexican, but definitely Latino. So, yeah, but to me, when I see that, the white folks are studying, I'm like, man, they picking up the teachings and we reject them. It's bizarre. It's just so bizarre. It really is. But you'll tell me all day long about what your, you know, pork chop eating pastor said, and he ain't led you nowhere, won't give you knowledge of self or none of that. But you got these good teachings, and I say we, I mean collectively, we reject these teachings. This is teaching us how to do for self, how to love self, you know, it's knowledge of self, all of that, and we reject it. It's the strangest thing to me. It really is. I was just strolling on TikTok one day and I saw it. I said, I'll be damned. Earth Angel was going on to Grand Rising. Yes, stay connected to the Creator always, always. Let's see. Gaga was going on. It says, we saw what it did and how it set us back when Bill Clinton was president. O'Shea was going on. She says, feed our troops. Yeah, I saw that picture too, boy. Woo! I saw that picture. The troops, that the food that they getting is like, yuck. That ain't no food at all. And then they said the family members are sending them packages and stuff, but they can't get through. Because Iran said what we said. Ain't nothing coming through here. Not laughing at the troops, right? I think it's sad that that's the food that they're eating. Is just, that's horrible. But I think that's an administration thing. Pete Hegseth up there quoting Pulp Fiction and stuff. It's like, are you kidding me? He quoted a scripture, quote unquote, from Pulp Fiction. And now I guess the Republicans are going to have where they're supposed to be reading the Bible. And then student minister Ishmael Muhammad talked about this as well. Trump is going to read some scripture. And it's like, this is crazy as hell. This is just crazy. But you quoted the wrong scripture from Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction. Wasn't even real scripture.
You know what's really crazy? You got all these Democrats saying what Trump did is so wrong and this, that, and it's an illegal war. Kamala's been saying it, the illegal war and all this other stuff, right? But then when the vote was put on the floor to fund the war, they voted for it. They have the power to stop this whole thing. The Democrats have the power to stop the whole thing, not fund it. But when it was put on the floor, they voted for it. I'm against the war. Are you going to vote for it? No comment. And they all voted.
I think the most important thing is they all have the same puppet master. Brother Damon, how you doing? Says NATO has been exposed as a paper tiger. Iran is currently negotiating with the U.S. from a position of weakness. I don't know which reports you following. Iran is not in a position of weakness. If they were, and like Trump said, oh, we kaboom, and it's over. But like Iran said, y'all said that the last time you kaboomed, right? And we had the ceasefire, and that's why they said we won't negotiate with you. I mean, come on now. You think they performing from a state of weakness? And they talking about Trump's wife the way they call her the Epstein Queen. It's crazy. I mean, they got videos, little cartoon Lego videos, like effing with Trump and all the administration. Now they got Cash Patel calling him a drunk. And all, I mean, they hacked into the man's email. All kind. I don't think they operating from a weak people don't do the stuff they do.
How do you negotiate from a strength of weakness? And we're the ones putting out propaganda saying that the war is over. They're not saying anything. They're just saying what they said, and that was it. How is that a position of weakness? It's almost like a boxer getting beat down. Remember Carl the Tooth Williams, the Jamie Foxx character?
Yeah.
Remember? Well, how do you think the fight came out? I got my ass whooped. You know what I mean?
Right. I didn't realize we were so over time. I'm just trying to acknowledge everybody that I have not seen. But yeah, this is getting very interesting. United States doesn't have any power here, and they know they don't. They bit off more than they could chew. Because the United States is used to being the bully. The United States is also stretched very thin. They've loaned money and weapons to everybody you can think of, and Iran knows that. They said we've been prepared for this since 2003 when y'all did what y'all did to Saddam Hussein, right? We knew we would be next, and we know why we're next, because that one little group of people over there, they want the whole Middle East, right? So they said we knew it was coming, and they also said they acknowledge these things. We know y'all stretched thin. We're not. We're not even, we're only at the tip of the iceberg of the stuff that we got. And so United States know that they bit off more than they could chew. They think they're going to bully, like tweet. Like even Iran said, like, dude, you're tweeting. you better stop. If you don't, it's going to get. They're like, man, if you don't go on some damn where, we're not afraid of you. But I think what people forget, especially over there, they're born to do that. They're like, in a sense, if we don't have respect, or y'all trying to make us bend the knee, and you want to take from, we all leave up out of here together,
right? And again, you got to think of the proxy wars that we fought in the Middle East. I mean, we gave Iraq all this money, and they're no longer a viable ally. I mean, they're our allies, but they're not strong. They're not what it used to be. The things that were in the past are no longer so. And again, Donald Trump stepped into it. He stepped into it. But again, who do both of these parties get their money from? You got to just follow the money. AIPAC, the Israel lobby, they are using money that we send to them, where they give their citizens free college education, free health care, and they're taking the money that we send them, our tax dollars, and buying politicians on both sides of the aisle. When you buy politicians on both sides, or when you buy both sides of an argument, Demetra, where's the argument?
In the middle. I don't know. Damon, he says, serious people understand that they are losing hundreds of millions a day. Who is this they? Because what is it? United States is spending $2 billion a day on this war. That's what the United States is spending, $2 billion a day. He says China is the dominant player in this conflict. Iran will be out of the picture before the end of this month. Well, it's been going on for almost 2 months, and they still running strong. They calling the shots. I mean, I'm just saying, Brother Damon, I hear what you're saying, but I think we need to look at what it is. If Iran is operating from a position of weakness, then why do they control the Strait of Hormuz? Why are they saying, okay, now it's closed? And they were letting some people go through, but now they're like, since Trump is up there lying, it's closed. Ain't nobody coming through here. So if that's a position of weakness, tell me what a position of strength is. I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Yeah, and then how is China the dominant player? China can't even sell military weapons to other countries other than South Korea that will take it, because their weapons, because in their culture, there's a lot of skimming off the top and a lot of fraudulent stuff that goes in. Nobody wants to buy their weapons, so they're not even making any money off of this situation.
And again, the United States is stretched very thin, from Ukraine to Israel. Who else have they been giving stuff to, right? So I don't know. You tell me, right? And I'm terrible at math. Maybe Brother Samuel can help us out. But I think the Iranians are just doing the math. It's like, how people, when they go to Vegas and they count cards and stuff, that's what the Iranians are doing. They're like, we know y'all situation over there. Y'all done stretched in. We know that it's going to take y'all some time to make some more. They even, from what I understand, are trying to bring in Ford and some GMC, I think, motor company, into making some more weapons really quick. So the Iranians, we know what you're working with, but you don't know what we're working with, though.
Right. And you got to think, if our economy, if the actual war is declared, our economy has to gear up for a war economy. You can't have eggs and butter and guns at the same time. You got to gear the thing up to do that. And they know that we're thin because our dominant threat is China. Do you guys know how many naval and Marines are in the South China Sea, in that area right now, to deal with China and the Taiwan Strait and all that stuff like that over there? There is less than 3 million active military members in the military, and we just don't have it. We just don't have the resources. Plus, what's going on down in Latin America, we've got troops down there. There's an aircraft carrier right now going around Africa because we can't go through the damn strait. It's a mess. We can't do it.
You also say Iran is unable to export any oil. They can say that it's closed, but look at the actual movement of the ships. Many ships have moved this weekend, and a lot of them ships move backwards too. When they said we said it's closed, they say y'all better stop listening to Trump tweeting. Listen, I'm not on either side of the aisle, but I'm telling you what it is, okay? Because if there are many ships moving, then why, as gas so damn high and everything else you can think of, the United States is not operating from a position of power. Trump is freaking out every day because he stepped in it. And, he probably got people who are ill-equipped to tell him what to do, calling the shots. And unfortunately, it's the wrong ones. Like, they really thought they were going to, and like, people didn't mess with Iran for a reason, right? But I guess for whatever reason, whoever's in Trump's ear say, oh, you can do it. It's no big deal. Go ahead and do it for us, Big Daddy. And Big Daddy is like, oh my God, I wish I could just be at Mar-a-Lago and not have to talk about these things. Facts and Feelings says, many years ago, I read an article by Iran developed special concrete that could withstand bunker buster bombs. They have been preparing for over 20 years for this war. And that's what they said. It's not a secret. We've been doing that. Hellcat Hood Rat, he says, what? This can't be. I just read an article that said black dads are better fathers. And that article is true. That don't mean that sometimes people don't do things they ain't supposed to be doing, right? Damon says Iran don't have a navy at the moment. Yeah, they don't got a navy, but they got other people helping them. Like, do I need a navy? If you come into my backyard, I mean, if I got, and listen, I'm not even in the military like that, right? I've been on some bases, don't get me wrong. But do I need a navy if you coming to me? If you bringing your ships close to me, how much of a navy do I need? And we also know that Russia and China are helping them with intel. Yeah, their satellite and radar is out, but China and Russia's like, that's okay, we got you. We'll help you. They discovered that a long time ago. I mean, I'm just saying this. We could just look at it for what it is. It says China suffers from the USA blockade of the strait. Either they suffer economically or they'll attack the U.S. Let's talk.
No, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I was just going to talk about that with you, Damon. Like I said, you bring up great points. Like I said, this is a great conversation, but unfortunately, I have to disagree with you for the simple fact that China is our biggest trading partner, and we owe so much debt to China. There is no way we are going to stop trade with China when so many of us depend on Chinese goods, Temu and all the stuff, Amazon, and we get all our stuff from China now. So I really doubt the American people are going to sit here and just say, yay, let's stop China. I can't get this. I can't get a lot of your major suppliers. All this stuff is going and it's coming east. So they don't even have to go through the strait. So if we're their main trading partner, why would they have to go west through that strait only to deal with maybe Africa and a few other things like that? But we're their biggest debtor. We're their biggest debtor, so that they're gonna deal with us. It's business,
right? And especially when the tariff wars took place, and then when Trump levied all those tariffs, and what was it, 150% or something like that on China? China's like, man, bump that. We'll just go build relationships with all the other people, and that's what they've been doing, right? And then of course the Supreme Court was like, yeah, them tariffs was illegal, Trump. But with that, a lot of experts said it was a mistake for Trump to do that because, and even like with the USAID, removing all those funds, they said now China is like, hey, I'll be your huckleberry, what you need. So with that, Trump doing what he did allowed China to go in and be, the benefactor, if you will. What can I do for you? So there's a lot going on there. Palestine Chicken says you hate America. There's a lot of people who feel the same way you do. Anyway, we're going to get out of here because I didn't realize that we were on here for this long. You know what? I'm wearing a sweater today, believe it or not, and I didn't sweat because this is what a comment with the watch the weather. It's commentary is coming from. It is 70 degrees, 69 degrees. It's going to be that way for a couple of days here. New York, I think it was 90 degrees this weekend. California, like 80 something degrees. In Houston, where it's always hot and humid, especially this time of year, seems like it's cold. I was freezing last night. I was like, why is it so cold? I didn't know it was going to be cold like that, right? And then I looked and said, damn, it's super cold. So yeah, watch the weather because this is all unusual. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. I have another great conversation with you, Damon. It's always nice to chop it up with you, but we'll definitely continue this conversation another day. Peace.